With an often overlooked ingredient, the incredible edible egg. You know, there's more to this food than just breakfast, and Chef Laura from Celebrated Cuisine is here to show us a couple ways that we can prepare it, and basically it's like egg 101 this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Yes, it is egg 101. For whatever reason, I have received more questions in the last couple of months about eggs, hard boiling it, how to separate, etc. So I thought maybe we'd spend a little time doing that this morning.
Good, because I just did it last night.
And how'd you do?
Well, you know, some turned out good, and then I always have like the one that cracks and oozes out, and well.
The incredible exploding egg.
That one.
Yes, we all have that, so
that one.
Don't feel badly about that. I have that too. So a couple things just about the egg in and of itself. First of all, it comes in multiple sizes. And what I found that most baking recipes especially call for large eggs. Okay. And so it's just better just to buy the large eggs. Ignore the mediums, the peewees, the jumbos, etc. Because then you're going to always get a consistent product for whatever it is you're making. Okay. Eggs also need to be stored in the container that they come in at the grocery store, because these are porous, the shells, and so they'll actually absorb any other aroma that you have in your refrigerator.
What about the little plastic thing that came with my fridge? I can use that or not?
You could if it's enclosed completely, but if it's not, and it's just the thing that you stick the eggs into.
No, it's like a little plastic container.
If it has a lid on it, great. If it
not,
doesn't, keep them in the container itself, okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, the decorative thing, out.
Okay.
So that's something to bear in mind also. When you're hard boiling an egg, because this is the #1 question I get, a lot of times people hard boil, get that green rim around the outside. Not so pretty, right? So what you want to do is put your eggs into a pot of cold water, and the egg should be cold, and you're going to bring that pot up to a boil. As soon as the pot hits, the water hits a boil, you're going to turn off the water and put a lid on it and just set it aside, and if it's a large egg, for about 17 minutes.
Put a lid on it too, huh?
Put a lid on it, yeah. You want to keep all that heat in the pot, okay? Once 17 minutes has gone by, you want to take that egg out of the water and run it under cold running water or into an ice bath, which is ice in water, and let it sit there. And by doing that, what actually the egg actually retracts from the shell a little bit, making it easier to peel.
How long can we leave it in that ice water?
As long as you want. Something's going to happen to it at that point. Now, some people actually take it a step further. They'll actually take the egg after it's been in the ice water, re-immerse it into boiling water for about 10 seconds and pull it again to give that egg a little extra extraction from the shell. You don't need to go there.
Okay, good, because that's one extra step. Gotta be honest, I'm probably not there.
No. And then easily peeled by just giving a good tap on the counter or whatever. And then I always peel running water, because then the peel comes off a lot easier, and just get rid of that shell completely. What ideally you're looking for though is an egg yolk when you cut into it that is perfectly yellow. You don't want to have that green rim around it, and that green rim sometimes comes from the fact that you just let the egg sit in the water too long that was hot. So if you go right into cold water, you'll prevent that green from showing up. And that's ideal, especially when you want to serve those eggs as part of a chef salad or a salade niçoise or something like that.
You mean the green is like the little thing, like a little circle in the middle of them?
It's right on the rim normally of the egg yolk itself. And
well, what's to do with that? There's like a dot in the middle. Is that just uncooked?
If you have a green dot in the middle?
No, it's just kind of like a off-white.
Oh, that would just be, it may have not just cooked all the way through, which is still fine because it's still cooked at high enough heat for you to eat it.
Okay.
The other thing to bear in mind is you don't want to go to the grocery store the minute before you decide to hard boil eggs and buy your eggs to hard boil, because a fresh egg is very difficult to peel once it's hard boiled. So it's better to take those eggs that have been in your refrigerator for a little bit and hard boiled, as opposed to something that's brand new, because an older egg will peel much more easily when it's been cooked.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Don't think I knew that.
So that's a very, very good thing. The other thing I wanted to share with you too is the proper way to separate eggs. A lot of times people either want to have egg white omelets or they need egg yolks so that they can make a custard or some type of a creme brulee or a creme anglaise. And so first of all, the one thing I noticed is that you want to always crack your egg right on the countertop itself as opposed to on the side of the bowl. And the reason for that is to prevent the shell from falling into whatever it is that you are going to be mixing up, okay? So, and then the next thing you want to bear in mind is that your hands are the best tools possible to use for egg separation.
Forget the tools, the little egg separating.
You could use that, but that just becomes laborious after a while, and these you can't lose, and they're easily washable, okay?
Let's hope we don't lose them.
So that would be good. So with an egg, what you want to do is give it a nice little crack on the countertop, and then just hold the egg open like this and let the rest of the egg just sit in there. Watch as the white goes running around onto the shell, and then you drop the yolk actually into your hand. And because there's nothing sharp in my fingers, and there shouldn't be because I'm not a mutant, you're going to let the yolk just hold into your fingers, and the white falls right through, and then I'm able to put my yolk over here. This is important, especially if I want to turn those whites into a meringue or something that requires them to be whipped, because any kind of contaminant, that could be egg yolk, it could be some residual soap in my pan, whatever, is going to prevent that white from whipping up.
Oh.
Okay, so it's ideal to just get the practice of using your hands, and you can go really fast this way too. It's really gross, I know.
Do I need to help you here?
I have like a little supply right
Okay,
here.
there you
Thank
go.
you very much. So, so a little separation. However, here's the cool thing. If you do end up dropping a little bit of shell into your egg batter, just grab another piece of shell and use it to scoop it out. There's a little magnetic thing that happens and it pulls the shell out.
Get out, you serious?
Yes, so all that time I could have saved you when you're chasing the shell around.
Right, and I actually sometimes, not my finest hour, will chase it like in the skillet as I'm doing my egg whites, and at the point that my finger starts burning, then I say, fine, I'm just eating shell.
Yeah, then a good way to go also, but no, you can always just chase it around with a piece of shell instead. The other thing too is lemon is your best friend as well if you're going to be doing any kind of egg whipping or egg white whipping, because if you squeeze a little lemon juice into the bowl that you're going to whip it in and put it on the beaters as well, we call that acidulation. We are acidulating that, and what we're doing is we're getting rid of any kind of contaminant or fat that might be in the bowl, and so the egg whites will automatically whip a lot better. A lot of times what the home cook will see is cream of tartar in a recipe.
Right.
That for when they're going to whip the egg whites, this would take the place of any cream of tartar because it will actually enhance the egg white whipping process.
Wow.
And then the last thing I wanted to share with you is if you are doing egg separation or especially egg white whipping, with egg separation it's better to separate the egg while it's cold. But when you go to whip the egg white, you want to do that while it's at room temperature because you'll get a lot more aeration and you actually get 8 times the volume.
So just let it sit for just a little while.
Just let it sit while you do the rest of the prep for your restaurant.
Who knew?
That's why they call it the incredible edible egg.
There you go. Laura, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We will put these tips to good use, I'm sure.
Great.